for what?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Development Review Committee meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order. It is 9:01 on Tuesday, December 1st. Anybody wishing to participate in today's meeting can email in their phone number to planning@cityoflaverne.org, and we will call you on your phone number so you could talk on any of the items on the agenda today. So first we'll do a roll call. Eric Scher, Community Development Director.
Cody Howing, Deputy City Engineer.
Richard Martinez, Public Works Department.
And then we have staff available as well. So this is the time set aside for public comment. This is time to speak on any items not on the agenda. Brown Act prohibits us from making decisions on those items, but we can direct staff to bring it back on a future agenda date at a future date. We have not received any public comment as of yet for this meeting, so we're going to go ahead and close public comment and move on to the first item or next item for the approval of minutes for November 3rd, 2020. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next, we're under projects. First one is a tree removal application. Let me bring in the applicant here. We have Kenny Chang. Is there anybody else?
Maggie.
Oops.
Good morning.
I'm gonna hold on. You're for the mobile home park RV parking, correct?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
All right, we're gonna put you back in the waiting room. We're not ready for you quite yet. Hold on one second. Okay, Mr. Mrs. Chang, are you both there? Mr. Chang, you're muted.
Yes,
There you are.
we're here.
Okay, good. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good. Okay, we're going to start with Maya giving her report. Committee members might have a question. You might have questions that we could discuss after Maya's report, and then we'll make a decision hopefully. So Maya?
So the application is a request to obtain a tree removal permit to allow for the removal of one coast live oak tree that's located at 2054 Fifth Street, as well as the anticipated removal of one coast live oak tree that straddles the property line at 2042 and 2054 Fifth Street. The requested tree removal at 2054 Fifth Street, as well as the one that straddles the property line, is part of a larger project at the vacant 7,000 square foot property that Mr. and Mrs. Chang own at 2054 Fifth Street, where they are proposing to construct a new single-family residence and an accessory dwelling unit. Applications for the proposed new single-family residence and ADU were filed in 2019 as case numbers 11319 PPR and 11419 ADU respectively. Those have both been approved, but a condition of approval for both cases required the applicant to file an application for the tree removal permit prior to issuance of building permits. So the coast live oak tree at 2054 Fifth Street is currently located within the footprint of the proposed new single-family residence, while the crown of the oak tree that straddles the property line would interfere with the ability to move forward with construction of that project. So a survey that was completed in March 2020 by a certified arborist found the coast live oak tree at 2054 Fifth Street to have a caliper of 44 inches, a canopy spread of 60 to 70 feet, and a height of 50 to 60 feet. The tree was noted as being in very good condition with no signs of pest or disease. So based upon the caliper size, the species of the tree, as well as the acreage of the property, the tree is considered to be a significant tree under the parameters of the city's tree preservation, protection, and removal of trees ordinance. So per the ordinance, a tree removal permit is required, and based on the 44-inch caliper size of the tree, is required to be replaced by 4 new trees, each with a minimum size of 60-inch box. The applicant is proposing to comply with the required 4-to-1 replacement ratio by providing 3 deodar cedar trees and 1 camphor tree. But they are requesting approval to provide replacement trees that are smaller than the required minimum size of 60-inch box. Instead, they're proposing all 4 trees to be 24-inch box size. Due to limited space at the project site, they are requesting to donate those trees to the Public Works Department. The Public Works Department has agreed to accept this donation with the intent of placing the 3 deodar cedar trees at Coons Park and the 1 camphor tree somewhere in the parkway along 5th Street. Well, only the Community Development Director's approval is necessary for the actual tree removal. Since the applicant's replacement proposal doesn't conform explicitly with the standards of the municipal code, the Development Review Committee is required to approve that replacement plan. So that's what staff is recommending today, that the DRC approve the proposed replacement plan of 4 24-inch box trees to be donated to the Public Works Department. The ordinance also requires specified findings be made prior to granting of a tree removal permit. And the applicant has sufficiently demonstrated that without removal of the tree, it prevents the reasonable use and enjoyment of the property today. So for the Coast Live Oak tree that straddles the property line at 2042 and 2054 5th Street, the trunk of the tree appears to be predominantly on the side of 2042 5th Street, with maybe a portion extending into 2054 5th Street, and then obviously a large portion of the crown extending into 2054 4th Street. The arborist didn't measure the tree, but just staff went out there, and based on visual inspection, it looks to be the same size or bigger than the tree that's at 2054, so approximately 44 inches in caliper. So based on that, it is considered to be a protected tree. And the arborist has indicated that in order to move forward with construction of the project at the Chains property, it will require extensive pruning of this tree because the crown is just in the way. He also indicated that extensive pruning is likely to drive the oak tree into stress, and that stress could cause the tree to fail. So because of this, staff had several concerns related to pruning of the tree, and while the pruning permit doesn't require DRC review, because of the concerns about the tree potentially failing, we wanted to bring that here to DRC today. So the respective property owners of 2042, Mr. Randall Rogers, and 2054 5th Street, Kenny and Maggie Chang, have provided staff with a formal agreement showing that they're in agreement about the pruning of the tree, as well as the replacement and as well as the removal and replacement of the tree in the event that the tree fails due to that pruning that will occur. So the Changs would be responsible for all the fees associated with the pruning. And in the event the tree fails, they would remove it and replace it with 4 new trees, 3 deodar cedar and 1 camphor, all 24-inch box size. Again, that's less than the required size per the municipal code, but it's compliant with the 4-to-1 replacement ratio. There's not enough room on either site to accommodate those trees. So again, they would be donating those trees to the Public Works Department. Public Works Department has agreed to take those trees, but they haven't yet identified where they would be located. So in summary, staff recommends that the Development Review Committee approve the request to remove 1 Coast Live Oak tree at 2054 5th Street, finding that the retention prevents reasonable use and enjoyment of that property, and authorize the tree replacement ratio of 4-to-1, with the tree sizes being 24-inch box for the 3 deodar cedar and 1 camphor tree. And then staff also recommends that DRC preemptively approve the removal of the tree that straddles the property line in the event that the tree does become damaged and fails, and then authorize the replacement plan of 4-to-1 with 3 24-inch box deodar cedar and 1 24-inch box camphor to be donated to the Public Works Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, for your report. Mr. and Mrs. Chang, do you have any questions before committee members have comments?
Nope. We look forward to your comment.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do you have questions or comments?
No, I don't have.
I only have one question. That is, I know Public Works has indicated they're willing to accept the trees, and that I'm assuming that also means that they're okay with the 24-inch box donation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions or comments either. I think this makes sense. Thank you for working with your neighbor on getting that signature to make sure that we have a path forward if unfortunately that tree does fail. So I'm in favor of the proposal. So with that, is there a motion to approve with the conditions of approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, so you're approved. Maya will work with you on how you move forward with getting your permits to build your structures.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So on this next one, we have
Roxy.
Roxy. Hey, Roxy, are you there?
Yes, I have just joined.
Great, thank you. Do you know, is anybody else joining? We've got somebody on here named Conference and another phone, no, actually just a Conference. Do you know somebody else is supposed to be on with you?
I am the only one attending as far as I know. There may be someone from Crown Castle calling in, but I'm unaware.
Those are the people who are doing the lease agreement. So I did send a report to them and the call-in information.
Okay, if you're in the phone call and the Zoom call and your device's name is Conference, can you please rename it with your name so we can admit you to the room, please? Otherwise, we're not going to be able to admit you. All right, since Roxy's on the call for now, we're going to go and move forward to the next item, which is an equipment enclosure for a wireless facility at 1505 Hollyoak Street. And Maya, you have your report?
So General Dynamics Wireless Services, on behalf of AT&T, has submitted a request to construct a new 120 square foot equipment enclosure that will house a proposed new backup diesel generator that will serve an existing wireless communications facility at Kirk B. Johnson Memorial, Pelota Park at 1505 Hollyoak Street. So the conditional use permit for the existing wireless facility was approved by Planning Commission in February 1997. The siting and design of the wireless facility was approved by City Council in April 1997. And in May 1997, City Council approved a ground lease agreement so that they could lease the 240 square foot area that would be the footprint for the 75 foot tall monopole wireless facility, as well as a 453 square foot equipment enclosure and a smaller, approximately 60 foot equipment enclosure that would house the equipment to support that facility. The facility has been in operation continuously since completion of construction in 1997. So AT&T is proposing a minor modification consisting of the new 15 foot by 8 foot equipment enclosure that would be located on the south side of the existing 453 square foot equipment enclosure to house a 38 kilowatt diesel generator with sub-base fuel tank. And that's basically to provide a backup source of power for the existing wireless communications facility. The proposal is part of AT&T's efforts to comply with the new requirements of the California Public Utility Commission that mandates that every wireless facility site has at least 72 hours of backup power, and that's for in the event of emergencies or power outages. Additionally, it's part of AT&T's efforts to complete work on the First Responder Network Authority, or FirstNet, which is a proposed nationwide wireless broadband network for first responders. So the diesel generator is for backup purposes only, so it won't be running continuously on like a 24/7 basis, but it will operate weekly just for testing purposes, approximately 15 minutes per week during regular business hours. Other than that, no other modifications are being proposed to the wireless facility itself. So the existing 453 square foot equipment enclosure is located on the south side of what's today a snack bar and equipment storage room. And so the new equipment enclosure would go on the south side of that existing equipment enclosure, but there would be no internal access between those two equipment enclosures. The access to the new equipment enclosure would be through a proposed access gate that would be located both on the west and south side. The equipment enclosure today is set back approximately 15 feet from the western property line of the park, and the proposed new equipment enclosure would be set back approximately 16 feet. So it'll be more or less in line with the existing equipment enclosure, but set in approximately 1 foot. In terms of the other development standards, the equipment enclosure complies with 25-foot front and rear yard setback required in the official zone, and it complies with the 45% maximum lot coverage requirement. The equipment enclosure will be approximately 8 feet in height, which is less than the approximately 11-foot height of the existing equipment enclosure. And it will have a chain link screen roof cover rather than the solid roof cover that's on the equipment enclosure today. The need for the chain link screen cover is to provide adequate ventilation for the equipment that's going to be located in there. There will be a tank vent for the proposed generator, which will protrude above the equipment enclosure approximately 12 feet above grade. So 4 feet taller than the 8 foot tall walls and about 2 feet taller than the peak of the roof of the existing equipment enclosure. So the design, it's going to be split face block wall that matches the existing materials of what's there today. There is a small planter area on the south side of the equipment enclosure today that will require removal in order to accommodate that new equipment enclosure. It can't be replaced because, like I said, there is going to be a gate on the south side. So in order to provide access to the generator, they can't have that planter there. So that will be removed entirely. There is a second amendment to the ground lease agreement that needs to be executed in order to authorize AT&T's expanded use of the park for that new 120 square foot area. So staff has included a condition of approval that basically requires execution of that second amendment to the ground lease agreement prior to issuance of any building permits. So that ground lease agreement or second amendment to the agreement needs to be approved by City Council and is scheduled to be reviewed and approved by them at their Monday, December 7th meeting. The project site has a general plan designation of open space and is located within the official zone, bounded by the PR 4.5D zone to the north and south and the official zone to the east and west. It meets the requirements of the existing conditional use permit as well as the official zone and will remain compatible and consistent with the surrounding uses. So with that, staff recommends the DRC approve case number 102-20 PPR based on the staff report and the findings in the draft conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Roxy, before we begin, do you have any questions or concerns or comments regarding Maya's report?
Nope, I think that's lines up with our proposal, and I did read the review, so I think we're in line.
Okay, committee members have questions or comments?
I have one question. I read you were recommending they move it to the east.
Yeah, so
it lines up with the existing.
that had been my recommendation because the official zone does require 20-foot street side setback. After consultation with the director, he indicated that because there's the wash there adjacent to the property, that street side setback isn't necessarily applicable in this case. So staff's no longer recommending that. We're recommending the proposal as is, and that just stays where they proposed it to be located.
Okay, because I was concerned that would.
It'd be too tight. Yeah, that was my concern as well.
That was my other question.
Cody, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, yeah, just two clarifications then based on the report and what we want to do here. So Roxy, the report did have a condition number 2, which I think we need to amend, which had you relocating it to the east, further to the east. I think where it's being proposed is acceptable and probably the best location for it, so that we have that pedestrian access on the east side because it is this tight area with the chain link fence of the baseball field. So I'd say just strike condition number 2 as proposed. And then also the report talked about it having a stucco finish and painted to match in the report. I just want to be clear that there is not stucco on that building and it is split face CMU wall. So I think your plans show that accurately, but I just want the
A2 calls it out as CMU wall stucco and paint to match existing building, so I can add a condition.
So condition number 16, which is a general condition about materials, I want to specifically state that the exterior finish shall be split face CMU wall to match the existing building. That way the plans get corrected before you go to construction, Roxy.
All right, copy that.
That's all I have. So with those 2 modifications, striking condition number 2 and modifying condition 16 to be clear on the materials that the enclosures to have. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. All right, Roxy, you're approved. Maya will work with you on obtaining the permits.
Very good. Thank you much. You guys
Thank you.
have a good one.
All right, you too. Next on the agenda, bring in your person. Hello, are you there?
Good morning.
Morning, who are we speaking with?
My name is Scott Basir. I'm with Basir and Kastenheiser. We're the property management firm that oversees the Fountains Mobile Home Park. And I'm the one that had the direct dealings with Metropolitan Water District that we provided to you guys the signed lease that we have with them that is bringing us to the development of these RV spaces.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Scott. We're gonna let Gabe give his report, and then we'll have maybe some questions for you, or let you ask some further questions. Before we move forward, though, are you aware if anybody else is supposed to be on the call this morning?
No, I'm not. I do, however, have Keith Rambola, who is the on-site manager there, that has been assisting me with these plans and the development of the spaces. So he's in here joining me today also.
Got it. Okay. We'll move forward then. So Gabe will give his report. Like I said, afterwards, we'll let you ask any questions or comments, and then committee members might have questions or comments or modifications. I know this is a recommendation to go on to the city's planning commission, which is going to be next month, right, Gabe?
Or next week.
Next week. It did make the December meeting. Okay. All right. So with that, Gabe, you want to go ahead and give your report?
Sure. So today I'll be reviewing case number 9622, a request to obtain a conditional use permit to expand the Fountains Mobile Home Park's existing RV parking lot. The applicant, Scott Bessire, on behalf of the Mobile Home Park, is requesting for a conditional use permit to expand the current RV storage lot at 3530 Damien Avenue. The proposed project site located at 3530 Damien Avenue is currently occupied by the Fountains Mobile Home Park's existing RV storage lot located at the east side of the site. The existing RV storage lot accommodates about 40 parking spaces and is located within the mobile home park zone. The lot is currently owned by the Metropolitan Water District, but has been leased out to the Fountains Mobile Home Park as of January 1st, 2020. The lease for the lot will end on December 31st, 2029. Staff has contacted MWD and was told that no permanent structures be constructed on site, but they would allow for paving and landscaping on site, with the exception of trees. There is also a 13-foot wide easement imposed by MWD on the west side of the property abutting Damien Avenue. The proposed parking lot will be located outside of this easement area. On September 23rd, 2020, the applicant Scott Bessire submitted a conditional use permit to expand the existing RV storage lot by 27 additional spaces. The existing storage lot can hold about 40 RVs for the time, but Mobile Home Park residents. Each of the spaces is about 12 feet wide by 42 feet long, and expansion would occur on the west side of the site abutting Damien Avenue. In addition to the expansion of the site, the project would also be surrounded by a 6-foot block wall. A portion of the site facing Damien Avenue would also feature a chain link fence and feature landscape screening for added privacy. At the northwest section of the site, there will be a 124-foot by 10-inch by 33 feet and 6-inch driveway entrance that will also feature an automatic double chain link swing gate. The Fountains Mobile Home Park have also come in agreement with the residents at 3444 Damien Avenue to allow them access at the northwest side of the RV storage lot. The agreement would allow the residents to enter through an 11-foot wide swing gate. The site is to be paved by 2-inch asphaltic pavement over 4-inch crushed rock base. Surrounding land uses around the site are the mobile home park to the north, low density residential to the south, the mobile home park, as well as the Metropolitan Water District area to the east, and a low density residential to the west. Due to some concerns raised by some adjacent neighbors, staff is recommending that the Development Review Committee limit the hours of when the RV storage lot can be accessed per condition number 2 on the draft resolution 1267.
And that's between what hours, Gabe?
It is between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Staff recommends that the Development Review Committee recommend approval for case number 9620 CUP to the Planning Commission based on the findings in the attached draft resolution number 1267 and the proposed conditions of approval. I also do have some supplemental site plans showing the turning radius for the site.
Thank you, Gabe. Either Scott or Keith, do you have any questions or comments on Gabe's report or the draft conditions of approval?
Yes, the first thing, thank you. The automatic gate, we didn't have, that wasn't something that we were going to put in. So it'll be a swing gate at the entrance.
Yeah, that would make sense. I was a little surprised if it was going to be an automatic gate. So
right. Well, and let me say this, gentlemen, and based on my experience with mobile home parks, we manage 88 different parks. To put an automatic gate in like that and have traffic backing up because that street cannot accommodate any type of, there's no turn lane one. So yeah, the swing gate would be the perfect thing for us to utilize there. Okay?
Got it.
Okay. One other thing of importance, I mean, we're in agreement with the turn radiuses. We think that's a great idea, although we've had to shorten our 42-foot spaces to 28. But what we're going to do to help accommodate that is we'll move all the larger RVs that were going to go in the new section and move them to the old section to accommodate your guys' wishes and the turning radius. So we're still able to achieve what we want to achieve. The one thing, though, I do need to bring to your attention is that I was working with Alfredo Enriquez from the Metropolitan Water District while going through this whole process starting, 8 months ago. Him and I worked closely to get this this project up and going with the signed leases and all the things that we had to go through. The long story short is, ultimately, he's the one that's going to be overseeing this from the Metropolitan Water District. And what we spoke about this morning is that the road base that he is looking at putting in there rather than a permanent asphalt, he wanted to know who one of you gentlemen spoke with at the Metropolitan Water District that asked for the asphalt, and he would like to contact them to have a meeting of the minds on that, on why they came up with that. So if you could provide me who you spoke with, either Gabriel to get the information from the Metropolitan Water District, Fred Enriquez is requesting that.
Okay, I think that's something we'll be able to follow up with after this meeting. I think we can, recommend a condition that'll work either way, and then hopefully before next week's Planning Commission meeting, that we'll have a resolution to that. So.
I sure appreciate that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. And I know here we are tracking on the 9th very quickly. I did speak with Fred again prior to our meeting this morning, just before you guys let us in, and he said the sooner the better, so that he can have a meeting of the minds with whoever said that. Fred's actually the real estate representative for Metropolitan Water District. So if somebody would be kind enough to get back to me with a name, a contact number, and so Fred can get a hold of them, I could have that information updated and presented to you guys prior to us going to the meeting on the 9th.
So, okay, that's fine. Again, we can do that. But what his preference would be, what you're saying is to do like a gravel base instead of an asphalt base.
Yes, well, and that's what our original plans when we had discussed it. I mean, literally, I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, but what we had to do because there was a large piece of concrete in which we had an emergency storage supply station at it. Was actually a large 12 by 40-foot container, but because that was over the main water line, we had to have that removed and then the subsequent concrete slab removed. So because it was within that zone of where that pipe is at underground and 8 feet on each side of it. So and staying in staying in line with that, literally in line with that, moving forward to the new construction where we're going, that's what we're leaning on, why he didn't want any permanent structure there, and that is why we're going with a chain link fence instead of a block wall. So anyways, long story short, Fred just needs to talk to that individual that brought that information before you gentlemen.
Okay. Any other comments on any other items then, Scott?
Let's see, is there anything, what's this?
It's canceled.
Okay, the proposed, what is that?
Charging.
Oh, yeah, the proposed charging station that's on the actual print, that's not gonna be there.
Okay, that's fine. Right, this is.
Okay.
For required charging.
So, yeah.
Okay, we might have to condition it to see if the building code, because you're basically expanding a parking lot. If the code requires it, I'm not sure. So if the code requires it, then you might have to do it. But right now, I'm not sure if that's going to be the case.
Okay, that's fine. And again, with all due respect, it is RV storage only. We're not charging, like cars or anything like that. Just with all due respect, it is strictly RV storage.
Understand.
Okay.
Any other items?
Great. No, I believe that's it. Just the most important thing again is getting back to us with that name so we can get that straightened out with Fred and can move forward from there.
Okay. Committee members have questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a few. So first, thank you for providing these turning templates. That's very helpful to see how this is going to function. I appreciate the modifications there. I still do have a few concerns that I'll just voice, and I'm sure we can work out the details a little bit further. I see how the vehicles are entering and exiting, but you can kind of see that you really only facilitate one path of travel. It's one way at the driveway. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 stalls that maybe look like standard, passenger vehicle size stalls next to that gate that services 344 Damien that I think you might have to lose to allow the 2 path of travel there. Sort of an awkward flow. I understand it's just a small RV storage, but I think we need to work those details out a little bit further. The wheel stops, so if we're looking at the existing portion, we'll call it the easterly portion. You've added wheel stops, I think, for my last review on a lot of them, but that middle stall row of, I don't know, it doesn't call it there. It looks like it used to be 14 space, if it's still there or not. Those don't have wheel stops, and my concern is if those are treated as pull-throughs, that the turning radiuses may not function and you have some sort of, collision that occurs there. So that would be something, again, minor detail. And probably the biggest one that we were just discussing here is pavement. And so understanding the concerns with NWD and retaining the site access. There's also issues that we need to make sure that there's an all-weather surface applied to this. I'm open to consideration of what that would be, but we need to find some sort of mutual meeting ground. The other thing is maintaining striping on the parking lot. So if it is a gravel-based only system, which I'm hesitant that would be the approved, but we would need to make sure that there's some way to provide markings of the stalls that's you know, going to retain and not be something that you guys are out there once a week trying to restripe. So there may be some more comments. Oh, you know, one last comment. If it does go to asphalt, there is a lid, a low impact development requirement that this would then trigger. So there's a few details to work through, and I think we can find some point there. But those are my comments or questions, really. So.
All right, before we move on, Scott or Keith, do you have any feedback on those comments?
Right. No, just the one, with all due respect, but yeah, with the radius there, we've already ordered in for the areas that don't have the car stops. They've already been ordered, and we're bringing them in. And I'd just like to comment, gentlemen, I've been directly involved with this park pretty much my whole life. And I say that because my father actually was the on-site manager there, you know, 50-some years ago. And we have been directly involved with this RV section. And really, it's a low traffic area. You have minimal people going in and out at the same time. It's not like there's ever been a mad rush of vehicles going in and out. It's worked fine for the numbers of years that are there, and we do appreciate the new radiuses and things that you're requiring and are happy to help facilitate all of that. And just my last comment is that, with regard to the asphalt, I think, if it comes down to the Metropolitan Water District saying that, no permanent structures there, is that something that you guys would work with us in that area?
I would say that we're open to consideration as long as we can find some sort of mutual meeting point that we're satisfied with the surface being weatherproof, all weather, so it's not going to be muddy, it's not going to fall apart when it rains. I think we're open to things other than asphalt, but what that is, we'll leave for further discussion.
Okay, perfect. We sure appreciate your consideration in those matters. Keith, what did you want to say?
In respect to the pull-through spots, we've never had a problem with any, in the 60 years that we've had them, with any vehicle being hit or damaged. They pretty much know, and I put smaller units in there purposely so that it doesn't take up the whole 36 foot area.
Sure.
So we're actually storing there to kind of elaborate on that. We're in that area to help facilitate easier access, and we're putting the smaller units in that middle section to help facilitate that also.
Okay, well, I think, again, that's another fine detail that we can work through on that. So we'll look at that further.
Perfect.
Richard?
Okay, gentlemen. Yeah. Other than that, we're good with everything at this point. And
we got a couple more things still, Scott. Hold on. Give us a second. Hold on. One second.
Okay. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. Richard, anything? No. Jessica, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I do have a couple things that I want to talk about beyond this. I think that the project needs more specific condition on the landscaping at the front. That 13-foot easement basically between the sidewalk and the fence, the proposed chain link fence, that needs to be landscaped. It can be drought tolerant. It's got to meet our landscape ordinance, and so it doesn't need to be sod or anything, but it does need to get planted out. We want to make sure we plant something along the fence line to help grow that up, like the bougainvillea you have today on the existing fence on the today. Something there so it does screen it eventually. Understanding that Metropolitan did indicate to me, and we'll talk about, and I'll follow up with that contact, that a block wall even would be allowable to them, but I'm okay with the chain link fence provided we have a good landscape plan. So basically a condition of approval that's gonna say that a landscape plan for that front area needs to be submitted to us specifically so we can sign off on it, knowing that how it's gonna be landscaped.
Yeah, that's exactly what our plan was, you guys, to get that over to you, and exactly what you said is what we were planning on doing, exactly.
So then, you had mentioned, that it doesn't have a lot of activity. Can you give us an idea how many times a week, how many vehicles are accessed or leave the site or come to the site today?
On a weekly basis, I'm lucky if I have 7 vehicles leave out of there, in and out.
So at the most, you're saying about one a day is what you're really saying then?
If it's even that, seriously. I
Okay.
probably have 3 a week.
I think this is important because when we go to the planning commission meeting next week, we already know that we have a resident that has concerns about the proposal and access and how often and all those. So I think it'd be good for you to be prepared to, provide that information at that meeting to the planning commission so that they're aware of what we're really talking about.
Okay.
My last recommendation here, and I'll see if the board agrees. The single family homes that are to the north and to the south of you, they have current restrictions that don't allow RVs to be parked considered in their front yard area, which is to the first 25 feet of the property. I think it'd be appropriate for us to make that same restriction here. I think that means you lose the space closest to Damien on the south end, maybe the second one, but you got that 13-foot already, so it's only 12 more feet of where we would have a restricted zone, just so you don't have RVs parked closer to the street than what those homes to the north and south of you are allowed to have under our current code. So I think that's appropriate, and that would be my recommendation of having a restriction on parking within 25 feet of the property line along Damien. So I don't know if committee members have a question.
Isn't this 25 feet?
Yeah, but this is the property line. So, no, we're fine with that. That's not a problem.
Okay, so yeah, if we would lose one there, sure, we'd be happy to accommodate that, definitely.
I don't know how wide those spaces are, but it might be 2. But either way, 25 feet. So or maybe we just talk about that one, and if you're a foot short or whatever, we can look at that. But this is just my recommendation.
Is there a 12-foot sidewalk?
The spaces are 12 feet wide, so if we remove the one, that'll give us the 25.
That works perfectly then.
Okay.
I don't know you remember what the right of way was?
It is 12 feet.
12 feet from curb?
Yeah.
So in reality, from the curb face, the fence line is really going to be 25 feet back from the curb, and then we'll have parking.
Correct.
12 feet back behind the fence. That'll be restricted. So I would propose that condition as well, Gabe. Okay.
No problem.
I think we're good on our side with the recommendation to the planning commission with these modifications. Is there a motion on the table with these modifications?
Motion to approve with the modifications as discussed.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, you have a recommendation with these items. We'll follow back up on the Metropolitan issue with the paving, and probably have further discussions between you and Cody on some of the specifics on lane marking and wheel stops and et cetera if we don't go with an asphalt base.
Right. Okay, that's perfect, guys. And just so I'm clear on this is Scott speaking, that somebody will call me back with the number so that I can relay that to Fred. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll send an email out, and so you'll have all the information.
All right, and on who you guys originally spoke to. Okay, and then I'll get that right out to Fred, and then we'll be able to provide an update at that time on the 9th with you guys, okay?
Sounds good. We'll see you on that call, if not before.
Okay, appreciate your time, everybody.
All right, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
The last item on today's agenda, so we are now adjourned at 9:44. Thank you, everybody.